Hey everybody, this is Brandon Ford and welcome to another edition of the Blind Rage podcast. For this week's TV episode, we are going back to Tales from the Crypt for Only Skin Deep. And I'm using the DVD as always. I think not a lot of the episodes from season 6 are on YouTube because it's not a very popular season. Justifiably so. But hopefully you can find it if you want to watch along. Real quick, going to get some plugs out of the way. Please don't forget to check out my books in paperback and Kindle editions by going to Amazon.com or the Amazon app. You'll find, like I said, my titles in paperback and Kindle, as well as my author page. You can also find my books in audiobook format by going to Audible.com or the Audible app. If you don't already, please follow me on Instagram at writer Brandon Ford. You can also follow me on Twitter at Brandon Ford. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, critiques, suggestions, criticisms, recommendations for episodes of Tales from the Crypt or any other shows you'd like me to do, please feel free to email me directly at blindragepod81@gmail.com. And lastly, please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. It only takes a couple of seconds just to hit a star, select a star rating. I'm not sure how it works on different podcasts, all the different podcast platforms, but it is particularly easy on Apple Podcasts. Just hit the drop down, select a star rating, even if it's not a 5-star rating. Any rating will do. So, just as long as you get me that exposure. All right. So, as per usual, we are going to begin with a 3 count. Now, this is season 6, the DVD for season 6, and like I said before many times, this is when they started putting the home box office presents at the beginning of each episode, which is what they did during the initial series run on HBO, but they didn't do it for the first 5 seasons. So when I start to play the episode, it may seem like it's not starting right away, but that's only because there's a few seconds of silence for the home box office presents. Okay, I think you got it. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, play. Okay. Yeah, like I said, season 6, really not a good season. A lot of very forgettable episodes, and so I actually wasn't going to do this one tonight. I was going to do another one, and I had to refamiliarize myself with it because I could just totally forgot it altogether. I couldn't even remember what the hell it was about at all. And that is the case with the majority of the episodes from this season, except for this one and another one that I plan to do a commentary for, not because it's good, but because it's one that I know. So, yeah, this was when the quality of the show really took a nosedive. And while there are a couple, not many, while there are a couple of episodes in this particular season that are decent, it probably would have been best if the show ended after season 5, especially since season 7 is god awful, as I said so many times before. And if you listened to the commentary that I did for Patchwork with my buddy James Garibay, he said that he got season 7 for $5. That says a lot about that particular season, because it's not too good. I noticed something weird though, just on a totally unrelated note. I the seasons had been relatively inexpensive on Amazon for a while. And even the whole set, I think you could get for maybe $50 for a while. And now it seems like out of nowhere, the price is more than doubled. And I was only able to find not that I needed it, I was just looking at it because I have the whole set, but I was just looking just for out of curiosity's sake. And the whole set is $130 now, which is insane for DVDs. And I can only assume that's because all of these seasons are probably going to be going out of print soon. So there's that, which could mean a couple of things. Could mean that the show is lost its popularity, which is very sad. Or it could mean that the Blu-rays are finally coming out, but I'm not holding my breath for that one. So, but I guess we'll wait and see. I really can't stand the episodes that have a long opening title sequence. I mean, we only have 30 minutes at most, less, because you got to count the opening theme, and the Crypt Keeper's intro and outro and the end titles. So you get like maybe 25 minutes, and then you got these opening titles that go on too long. And this actor here, I can't remember his name. His name's Peter something. Carl, his character's name is, and he is built and kind of resembles a porn star who I have a fondness for. I'm not going to say his name. I shouldn't have even said that, but it's neither here nor there. The actor who plays Carl, from what I remember, he's nice to look at. So there's and the only other thing that I looked at his IMDb credits, and the only other thing that I remember seeing him in is completely forgettable teen comedy House Arrest with Jennifer Tilly and Jamie Lee Curtis, I think, Donald Logue, and yeah, he's one of the parents who gets locked in the basement. I keep hitting that wire, and I'm sure it's annoying. Sorry. We'll see if I move it a little bit. So we have the Carl character who is abusive. We see he's hot-tempered, and he shows up at this Halloween party looking for a fight, basically, with the... Oh, there's others too. I forgot about that. So he's coming not to make amends with this most recent girlfriend with whom he was abusive toward, but just to stir up some trouble, and he ends up meeting this character in the kitchen. Is that her? That's her. Yeah, who you never really know what her name is, because she doesn't want to reveal her identity. So he says, when he asks her name, she says, "Is there a name? Is there any name that you have a fondness for?" And he says, "I always like Molly." And she says, "What a coincidence!" So she's known as Molly, and even though that's not her real name. But for somebody who doesn't want to anybody to know their true identity, I don't understand why she would take him home with her. But I don't want to say which story, but I said so many times before that this show influenced my short story writing, and now that I'm well thinking about it and listening to it, there's a definite correlation with a certain short story that I wrote that is in one of my collections. And the twist is not the same, it doesn't end the same, but some of the characters are similar, in particular the Carl character. And so, you know, Carl is like I said, he's hot tempered. He's kind of violent. He has a past of hitting women, and the Molly character has taken note of this, and she sees his hot temper when he throws a cup or something in the kitchen, and that's exactly what she's looking for. Because, again, I'm going to spoil this one if you don't want the episode to be spoiled, then you should probably stop the commentary now and watch the episode. But Molly was disfigured when she was born. She was born with a physical abnormality, which just left her. I don't know how to say this. Her face is disfigured. And the only time she really comes out is on Halloween because she blends in. And I think that because of her physical abnormality, deformity, whatever you want to call it, she feels that she deserves to be punished. So she has a penchant for rough sex, and you see the sex scene with them that is kind of racy, and it does kind of push boundaries a little bit. And while they're having sex, she's encouraging him to take out all of his frustrations on her body. And she says it over and over again, "Take it out on my body," because she likes that pain. Like I said, she likes to be punished because of what she is, or who she is, or the kind of life that she's forced to lead. And so I think for the most part this episode is decent because you have this sense of originality, and then it takes a downturn because we go to some predictable territory with her poisoning his drink. I mean, as soon as she hands him a drink, you know. I mean, it's like, how stupid could you possibly be not to see that coming? But then she takes on the role of a collector. And there are some episodes of Tales from the Crypt that have these murderers or these characters who, for whatever reason, have killed numerous people, and they have some sort. They keep some sort of totems or talismans from the experience as something of a remembrance of it, or it's more of a keepsake, I would say. And generally, it has something to do with why they are committing these violent acts. And because Molly was born with a disfigured face, she collects the faces of the men she has slept, she takes home. And it doesn't really work for me. I'm not sure how I would have ended this particular episode, but yeah, this is kind of crazy, rough porno sex going on here. One thing that I don't think I get is there's a scene where I don't know if he's dreaming or not. I don't remember if he's dreaming. And here she is. She's crafting a stand because she's planning on cutting his face off later, and she needs something to present it on. But there's this moment, which I think is either coming up or just past, where Carl sees this African American man who he sees in kind of almost dream like. He's like kind of frozen or in terror, or he's screaming and there's nothing coming out of him. And I don't know if he's supposed to be a ghost of one of her previous victims, or he's dreaming of what his ultimate fate is going to be. I don't know. I have no idea. But it's odd. And one thing, too, about this episode is that I think is interesting, and one of the better parts or elements of the episode is Molly's idea that if they're going to leave together, that they keep their Halloween masks on and that they not reveal their true selves to one another. So he keeps this mask on while they're having sex, while they're sleeping, and she is not really wearing a mask. So
fix something for you. Not just the hair of the dog, but the whole goddamn dog at this. Go ahead, make you feel better. Guaranteed.
I am not a drinker, but I was a social drinker at one point, and I don't miss it. I don't really think about it. I don't want to go back to it. And plus it puts me in a very vulnerable position, being visually impaired. It's really not a good idea for me to be intoxicated even a little bit. I don't want to lose control of my faculties. But I never subscribed to the idea of the whole hair of the dog thing. And because I did get hangovers, I did get nasty hangovers, and that's one of many, many reasons I stopped drinking. But I know that a hangover is your body going through withdrawal from the alcohol, but I can't wrap my brain around anybody doing the whole hair of the dog thing to supposedly feel better, because if I'm hungover, or when I was hungover, the last thing in the world I would want anywhere near me within a 50-mile radius is any kind of alcoholic beverage. Even the thought would make me want to throw up. I remember getting so fucking trashed on vodka and grape juice when I was very young, and I got very, very sick. and I couldn't drink vodka or grape juice literally for years after the fact. So if somebody told me you'll feel better if you drink some of this vodka and grape juice, I probably would have just threw up on the spot. Okay, so he thinks that I don't know. I think he's starting to like her, and he thinks that maybe there's a chance that they could start something. And he he reveals his real name. He takes his mask off. He shows his face. He says what his job, what he does for a living. And she rejects him because even if she wanted to, she can't because she can't take her mask off. The only other thing that I've seen this girl in is I've only seen him in one other thing, and I've only seen her in one other thing, and I saw her in the Rose McGowan movie Devil in the Flesh, which is called Dearly Devoted in certain territories, and she plays the girlfriend of the guy, the teacher. Rose McGowan is the teacher that Rose McGowan is infatuated with. She plays his girlfriend. I forget what this is. I think he's looking for some kind of a trace of who she is, and he can't find anything. And I think this scene is included because you're supposed to be lured into a sense of everything's going to be okay, because generally what people are used to in movies where someone is poisoned is it happens right away. You know, somebody drinks something that's loaded with sleeping pills or whatever, and they immediately pass out or die. And he drank whatever concoction she made for him, and he's still walking around and he's still okay. But I think he's starting to feel the effects of it now. And she says something about the effects of whatever she gave him taking so long when he starts, or when she notices he starts to feel it, because she says something like you must have the slowest metabolism in the world. And yeah, because what she gave him was supposed to take effect right away, and giving him that drink was the insurance that she needed that she would be rid of him. Because she doesn't want him, she just wants his face. But what I think would make more sense, I know I said that I don't know how I would end this episode if it were me, because I don't like the way it ended or the twist, but I think what would make more sense, since she has an abnormality, and she isn't traditionally or what's considered to be by social norms to be attractive, you would think that she would be collecting the faces of women, because, and you know, maybe wearing them, maybe going all Leatherface on our asses. I don't know, but the fact that she's collecting the faces of men really doesn't, I don't know. Now we're about to have the big reveal because he's going to try to rip her mask off.
Let's see what's under yours.
Now he starts to feel the effects. He is a bit of a sociopath. He's one of those characters where, you know, he starts out bad, so when something bad happens to him, you don't really feel anything.
Mask, Carl. It's the way I was born. And the dog, and a little something extra. I swear you must have the slowest metabolism in the whole goddamn world.
Okay, so... I think she's adding his face to her collection now. What is with this fucking emotional music? Okay, now it's getting kind of dark. I don't like the... Another thing I don't like about it is the final shot of her. I think she licks, or she touches the blade of the bone saw and then licks it, and then it closes. There's a, yeah, there it is. There's a close up of the bone saw, and it just starts to spin, and then it fades out.
I guess that's one way to wear a guy out. Still, I think Carl and Molly make a hell of a couple. I mean, talk about boo of a kind. Okay, I see your raise and raise you 20. Call.
Ooh.
Now that's a poker face.
All right. Well, that was Tales from the Crypt, only skin deep. As always, thank you very much for staying with me to the bitter, bitter end. And I hope you'll come back to join me for more episodes of Tales from the Crypt, more movies, more fun, more everything. So until then, this is Brandon Ford wishing you all unpleasant dreams.